Proverbs being in that time, um, going to Sirach. Sirach was this literature that was put on his heart to write, right? The grandson to write for what was going on in that time. This was a Hellenistic period. This was a time when they were among the Greeks. This was a time where, when you go to the Maccabees, you see that some of us were gravitating over to the way the Greeks were. And sometimes you have to put things in place for people to build off of the Tanakh, for them to understand how to move going forward. That's what we saw with Ezra. Ezra had to bring and not add, but enforce certain things that people weren't used to at that moment when he was bringing it back into place. That's kind of what we are now here in the United States. We're in that same place. And me being a writer myself, got a book coming out in a couple weeks. Just want to put that out there. Know the importance of what this literature was doing. Okay, so what I want to do before we go into it is I want to bring a definition out. Right, this goes into what Zakena had brought out, Sakari, when she brought out spiritual, and I want to bring out the definition free spirited. Right, free spirited. And it says free spirit is independent and not constrained by convention. All right. Someone that is free spirited is not constrained by convention or by something that is set as a norm. Another definition is a person who thinks and acts in an uninhibited way without worrying about normal social rules. Okay. So when you think of a free spirited person, they have no rules. You hear a lot of our people say we're free spirited. Okay. I understand why that's being said. And this is not a shade to those trying to shame any one of those of you who might call yourself free spirited. But hopefully, as we go through, you'll see why, for us as a people, collectively, why that may not be something that we want to gravitate to as the forefront of how we move. All right. Another definition is it says most people will naturally be seeing free spirited as a positive quality, right? Because the positive side of being free spirited is just someone that's a thinker, someone that is able to look at certain things that's happening and determine if they want to go this way or that way. That's a positive side, but the whole picture is not painted when we're utilizing that word. Okay. Let me go to, I want to bring up a post that I put up yesterday. And I'm getting us to the lesson, you all. So just bear with me. I put up a post yesterday and I had said, before coming on this path, this journey, and while on it as well for 12 years, I've been on it going on 13 years, 12 years right now. I used to wonder why so many of us who attached ourselves to the Bible, even before this particular journey. So I was a Christian, of course. I was an armor bearer. My father is still a pastor and everything. So I used to wonder who attached ourselves to the Bible would be doing so many things contrary to it, hurting one another physically, mentally, spiritually, as well as repeating the same things that we see those in our Hebrew literature who weren't spiritually connected to the Most High doing. So we're doing the same thing that those that were in our literature were doing, who weren't spiritually connected to the Most High. Remember, I always say it's a remnant of a remnant. It is a remnant of a remnant. Israel is supposed to be a remnant of its own. We're supposed to be a remnant of the people outside of us. But as we can see through the Tanakh, it was people within our people that was more connected with the Most High. So majority of us was not connected to the Most High as we believe ourselves to be. So when we're viewing our literature, and then we're reviewing our people today, we shouldn't become heartbroken when we're seeing all these failures of communities, all these failures of relationships, all of these different things. But I'm about to paint the picture as to why I believe that's the case. I said in Christianity, Islam, and Israelites, or even Israelites, or whatever you may be as so-called Black people, this seems to be a common thing. I used to wonder why we would always say that we are spiritual or being led by the Ruach or spirit. I then began to realize that we are at our core spiritual, but we have become free spirited instead and going away from our most high given potential. That potential that's been given to us by the Most High is teaching us how to operate collectively. It's teaching us how to love one another. It's teaching us how to move as men. It's teaching us how to move as women, right? Husband and wives. Teaching us how to deal with people that's outside of us that may come amongst us, and teaching us what not to do when we're dealing with those outside of us, right? And what to do. So we're losing that when we have become free spirited. We see that with any of the historical writings that we have. We see our people doing that, right? So read this book of Maccabees, you'll see what I'm talking about with that. And also today we're seeing that here in the United States. So I said, I'm sure there will be some who disagree, and that's fine, but this is my observation as it pertains solely to observers of the Hebrew literature, right? And even those that's not in the Hebrew literature, we see that with our people in general. So they might disagree with what I'm saying, but if we look at our lives, a lot of us, even those that come into this walk, those that learn the proper way, we still have a past that took place. We have a past that took place that, due to us being free spirited, not having any rules that we let dictate and push us down the path of righteousness, not allowing that in our lives, has caused what we see before us, myself included. Okay, so it says, being spiritual in the context of the Hebrews literature has structure and order attached to it that many don't truly desire to operate in. Of course, that is okay. This is your right not to, and that classifies the individual as being a free spirit. Just think about that term, free spirit. Ask yourself, if you're a person that's claiming to be free spirited, do you have someone holding you accountable? Do you have people that you go to before you make certain moves? Are you just living your life? Then look at what took place with those with that ideology that you have, that you're acting on, right? Then I said, of course, this is okay. This is your right not to, and that classifies the individual as being free spirit. We must understand this and grasp this, because when you are such, then you have nothing that governs you, that can correct you, only yourself. We're in this world right now, or in the United States right now. We allow them to govern us, but we don't allow our own people to govern us.